right, how's it going, everyone? My name is Alex Villanueva. This is my presentation of the religion of the ancient Greeks for Art 114. Let's get it going. Today's agenda, we got. I'm gonna go over the background of the religion of the ancient Greeks. Then I'm gonna go into their main part of the religion, which is the Greek gods, their foundation. Um, then I'm going to go into how they worship their gods, the altars and what their purpose is. Sorry about that. Then I'm going to go into temples and just some details about that, how they specifically practice their religion, and then we'll wrap it up at the end. All right. So first off, we got some background here. First off, the ancient Greeks were classified as a polytheistic religion, basically meaning they worship multiple gods. Whether I don't know the exact term, but I believe it's monotheistic for other religions such as Christianity. Um, they believed in 12 Olympian gods, and that was the foundation of their belief system. To the right there, you could kind of see a really cool painting of a bunch of their Greek gods. All right, now more about the Greek gods. They were believed to reside in Mount Olympus. The ancient Greeks also believed that they were very human-like, meaning they were men and women. They had children just like we do. They got into sticky situations like having affairs with each other, and had a good and bad characteristics. So just like us, we're not perfect. We make mistakes, and we have good and bad parts of us that we choose to display in certain situations. So the Greek gods were a lot like us, as the ancient Greeks believed. Um, it is said that the most important gods are Zeus, Athena, Apollo, Poseidon, Hermes, Hera, Aphrodite, Demeter, Eris, Artemis, Hades, Hephaestus, and Dionysos. So this part is kind of debated throughout Greek mythology. Some people believe that Hercules should replace Dionysus, and I believe another one is I believe it's pronounced Leto. Is another Greek god that some experts believe that were more important than a couple others. So a lot of times, while researching, um, I saw kind of different opinions on the standard or the main 12 Greek gods. So it's disputed, but overall they all had the same thought process when determining who's more important than the other. Um, and growing up, we all kind of recognize these names: Zeus, Poseidon, god of the sea; Aphrodite, I believe she's goddess of beauty. So a lot of these are very familiar. Next, we're going to talk about how they worship the gods. The gods and goddesses of ancient Greece were worshipped daily, just like most religions. Religions are mostly practiced daily. Many Greek households and altars had altars dedicated to certain gods. And a unique form of worship included the pouring of libations, which is they didn't specify when I researched that word, but libations is basically just a drink. It's a liquid that they offered to the gods, among other things like physical objects that they offered to the gods. To the right there is the a picture of the temple of Poseidon, and that leads us into talking about the temples. The temples of the gods were located in areas that coincided with that specific god's character. For example, as in the previous slide, the temple of Poseidon was actually located right next to the sea. So Poseidon being the god of the seas and the oceans, it was fitting that they built a temple for him next to a sea, and so on and so forth. They did that with every other god as well. Um, and from my research, I saw that mainly just um, it was mainly the really big names, the important gods: Zeus, Poseidon, Aphrodite, Athena, the really powerful ones that I guess they thought were more important than a few others. And the contents of the temples included outdoor altars, statues, images of the gods, and whatever nature surrounded that area. Again, they kind of tried to build it in areas that complemented um, that specific god. And fun fact, the temples, which you would think are used for worship and other things like that, were only built in honor of the gods, and they weren't used for any religious practices. That's actually what the altars were for. The altars outside of the temples were what specifically was used to practice um, the actual religion of the ancient Greeks. Speaking of altars, altars were used for placing objects for worshiping and making sacrifices. So again, the altars were located outside of the temples, and they were used to actually practice and carry out the acts of the religion. Many altars were built from stone. However, in Zeus's case, the altar was made from bones that were left over from hundreds of years of sacrifices. So, as many of us probably have an idea of, Zeus was, the god of the Greek god of all Greek gods, the main one, the powerful one, the leader. So his altar was built from all the sacrifices that from hundreds of years that people made. So I thought that was very interesting how they really put an emphasis and really dedicated a lot of time and effort into worshiping Zeus. Rightfully so, seeing as how he's portrayed as the most powerful and the leader of all the Greek gods. The religious practices. The ancient Greeks actively practiced their religion in multiple ways. Again, daily, as mentioned earlier. Many Greeks told the stories of the gods, conducted rituals, and made sacrifices, again, using the altars. There are multiple ways to make sacrifices to the gods, including killing a goat or oxen, or simply setting aside a portion of their family's dinner for their god. So I thought that was a very very interesting, the extreme side of um, making a physical sacrifice, shedding blood for their god. Um, you got that extreme level of worship, and then you have a simple, you know, here's a it's like setting a burger and fries aside for your god. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Religious practices continued. The ancient Greek religion was often practiced alone. Um, Also very similar to Christianity, where the main focus of Christianity is individual. It's a one-on-one relationship with God, and in ancient Greeks, they had the same mentality. It was all about. It wasn't about a congregation. It wasn't about a church. It wasn't about anything. It was just however you wanted to worship and however you wanted to practice your religion and develop that relationship with your God. That's how you did it. Individuals could visit temples, make sacrifices, pray, and do other religious practices whenever and wherever they wanted. Um, so again, um, some religions they're more group focused. Religions like the ancient Greeks, there was more individuals. Just you do whatever you want, whenever you want, whatever makes you happy and makes you feel like you've done your part in your relationship with your God. All right, to wrap things up here, um, the topics we discussed are the background, the foundation of the ancient Greek religion. We talked about the main part of the religion, which is the 12 plus Greek gods that they worship. We talked about how they worship. We talked about the altars that they use to conduct religious practices. We talked about the temples in which that were built in the honor of their gods and the location specific. And we talked about the multiple ways in which they actively practice their religion. All right, that's about it. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.